Step away from the vehicle. That Lexus isn't yours. Officer, I own this car. I can show you. You own it. Officer Dax Landry yanks him out by the collar. A black man in a $60,000 car in Westbrook. Don't insult me. You stole it. Justice Ronan Hale raises his hands, his voice steady yet laced with quiet disbelief. Sir, if you check my registration, your kind always has fake papers. Dax slams him onto the hood. I've seen it 100 times. A crowd gathers. A teenager films and laughs. A man in a suit nods at Dax like he's a hero. No one questions the officer. Everyone suspects the black man. Dax cuffs him and smiles. Easy arrest, good numbers. Another satisfying day. He has no idea the black man he just accused of stealing his own car is a state Supreme Court justice. And every person standing here will soon be begging for forgiveness. They just don't know it yet. But this story doesn't start here. It starts inside a courtroom that exists only in the future. Dax Landry sits at the defendant's table. His hands tremble. Sweat drips down his temple. The badge is gone. The gun is gone. The smirk is gone. A judge looks down at him. The same man he shoved onto a hood. The same man he called a thief. That moment is coming. But right now in this parking lot, Dax sees nothing but another easy arrest. Another black man who doesn't belong. Another story he's heard 100 times. Justice Ronan Hale lies face down on the hood of his own car. The metal is cold. His wrists ache from the cuffs, but his mind is calm, clear, focused. He counts the violations. 1. No probable cause stated. 2. No opportunity to present identification. 3. Excessive force without provocation. He reaches 14 before Dax finishes the pat-down. By the end of this day, there will be 18. Inside the grocery store, a woman checks her phone. A notification appears. Share location with Ronan. She frowns. Her husband never sends this, not unless something is wrong. Her name is Elena Hale. She spent years as an FBI special agent. She has handled hostage situations in 3 countries. She has talked down armed gunmen. She has testified before Congress, and right now her instincts are screaming. She abandons her cart and walks toward the exit. Her pace is steady, controlled, the pace of someone who has learned that panic gets people killed. Through the glass doors, she sees the parking lot. She sees the crowd. She sees the police cruiser. She sees her husband in handcuffs. Her hand moves to her phone. She doesn't run. She doesn't scream. She presses record because Elena Hale knows something Dax Landry doesn't. Documentation wins. Emotion loses. Evidence is everything. She has more than 1 million followers from her true crime podcast appearances. By the time she reaches the parking lot, that number won't matter, but the live stream will. Millions of people will watch Dax Landry's career end in real time. The countdown has begun. Rewind. Justice Ronan Hale pulls into the Westbrook Plaza parking lot under an overcast sky, the kind of gray that makes everything feel heavier than it should. He finds a spot near the entrance and texts his wife. Got the good spot? Take your time, Elena replies with a heart emoji. She's been looking forward to this. A normal weekend, groceries, maybe a movie later. No cases, no briefs, no courtrooms. Ronan smiles and opens a document on his phone. The ruling is due soon. The ruling that will reshape police accountability in Ohio. Paragraph 52 stares back at him. Qualified immunity cannot shield willful misconduct. When officers weaponize authority against citizens, the law must respond. He wrote those words weeks ago. He had no idea he'd soon live them. A patrol car enters the lot. Officer Dax Landry scans the vehicles. It's a habit. Years on the force. 2-time Officer of the Year. The department's golden boy. The face on recruitment posters. His eyes land on the Lexus. Nice car. Very nice. Tinted windows, chrome trim. The kind of vehicle that belongs in the suburbs, not outside a grocery store in this part of Westbrook. Then he sees the driver. Black male, mid-50s, sitting alone, looking at his phone. Dax's jaw tightens. Something doesn't fit. Something never fits when he sees this combination. Nice car, wrong driver. He's seen it before. Stolen vehicles, drug deals, gang activity disguised as suburban comfort. He runs the plates. The system responds in seconds. The Lexus is registered to Ronan Hale. Address in Whitmore Heights. No warrants, no flags. Clean record. Dax frowns. He runs them again. Same result. Clean. But Dax trusts his gut more than any computer. Computers can be fooled. Systems can be manipulated. Fake registrations exist. He's seen it. He's sure of it. He pulls up behind the Lexus and steps out. Ronan looks up from his phone. He sees the officer approaching. His hand instinctively moves to lower the window. A lifetime of conditioning. A lifetime of knowing how these moments can end. Good afternoon, officer. Is there a problem? Dax doesn't answer the question. License and registration. Of course. Ronan's movements are slow, deliberate, announced. I'm reaching into my glove compartment. My registration is inside. Stop. Dax's hand moves to his holster. Step out of the vehicle first. Ronan pauses. May I ask why? I said step out. Officer, I'm happy to cooperate. Happy to. But I'd like to understand why. Ronan opens the door slowly. He keeps his hands visible. He's done this before. Every black man in America has done this before. The choreography of survival, the performance of non-threat. He stands beside his car. My wallet is in my back pocket. May I? Hands on the vehicle. Don't move. Ronan complies. His palms press against the warm metal of his Lexus. His Lexus, the car he bought years ago, the car he paid for with money he earned, the car that is now being treated as evidence of a crime. A bystander notices the scene. She pulls out her phone and starts recording. She's maybe 17. Hoop earrings, pink nails. She's not concerned. She's entertained. Yo, this is wild, she says to no one in particular. More people gather. A couple pauses with their shopping cart. A man in a business suit stops to watch. Someone laughs. Dax notices the phones. He doesn't mind. He squares his shoulders, straightens his posture. Let them record. He's Officer of the Year. He knows how to perform. Sir, this vehicle was reported stolen. Ronan's voice remains calm. That's not possible. This is my car. I've owned it for years. That's what they all say. Dax's voice rises. If you check the registration, I don't need paper. I need you to explain why you're sitting in a $60,000 car in a neighborhood like this. A neighborhood like this. The words hang in the air. The crowd hears them. Some nod, some smirk. One woman whispers to her husband, he's got a point. No one questions the question itself. No one asks why a black man in a nice car requires explanation. No one wonders what a neighborhood like this really means. Ronan takes a breath. Officer, my name is Ronan Hale. I live in Whitmore Heights. I'm waiting for my wife. She's inside the store. Whitmore Heights? Dax laughs. That's a nice neighborhood. Very nice. How does someone like you afford Whitmore Heights? Someone like you. The teenager's phone captures everything. The comments start rolling in. LOL, he big mad. Cop is just doing his job. Why can't he just show his ID? Guilty until proven innocent. Ronan says nothing. He's learned that words don't work in these moments. Only time, only evidence, only the slow machinery of justice. But Dax isn't interested in justice. He's interested in being right. Turn around. Hands behind your back. Officer? I haven't done anything. Resisting arrest. That's what you're doing now. Dax grabs Ronan's arm and spins him around. The cuffs click shut, too tight. The metal bites into Ronan's wrists. Violation number 8. The crowd watches. No one intervenes. The teenager keeps filming. The businessman checks his watch. The couple resumes walking toward their car. A grandmother pushes past with her shopping cart. She glances at Ronan, then at Dax, then away. She doesn't want trouble. She's seen this before. It's not her business. Dax radios dispatch. In progress, Westbrook Plaza, black male, mid-50s, possible stolen vehicle. Possible. Not confirmed, not verified, possible. But in Dax's mind, possible is enough. It's always been enough. He guides Ronan toward the cruiser. The back door opens. The plastic seat waits. Ronan ducks his head and slides inside. The door slams shut. Through the mesh divider, he watches Dax speaking to the crowd, smiling, nodding, accepting their approval. Ronan's cuffed hands rest on his knees. His wrists throb, his shoulders ache, but his mind stays focused. Qualified immunity cannot shield willful misconduct. He wrote those words for cases like this. He just never imagined he'd become one. The cruiser smells like disinfectant and old coffee. Ronan sits in the back, his hands cuffed behind him. The plastic seat creaks with every movement. The mesh divider cuts the world into small squares. Through the window, he watches Dax approach a second officer who has just arrived. A young woman. Her nameplate reads Vargas. Officer Elena Vargas surveys the scene with cautious eyes. Something doesn't feel right. The crowd is too entertained. The arrest happened too fast. What do we have? She asks. Dax shrugs. Stolen vehicle. Guy claims it's his. The Lexus. Lena glances at the car. I ran the plates when I pulled in. They're clean. Systems can be wrong. They weren't wrong. The car is registered to Ronan Hale, address in Whitmore Heights. Dax's jaw tightens. So he's got good fake papers. That's not new. Lena hesitates. She's been on the force for some time. She's learned when to push and when to stay quiet. This feels like a moment to push, but Dax is Officer of the Year. Dax has connections. Dax has the captain's ear. She stays quiet. Inside the cruiser, Ronan watches the exchange. He can't hear the words, but he reads the body language. The young officer is uncertain. She knows something is off, but she won't act on it. He's seen this before. The silent complicity, the career calculations, the small surrenders that enable big injustices. Lena walks toward the cruiser and opens the door. Sir, can I see some identification? My wallet is in my back pocket, Ronan says calmly. The officer didn't allow me to retrieve it. Lena looks at Dax. Dax shrugs. He was being uncooperative. Uncooperative. The word echoes in Ronan's mind. He hasn't raised his voice, hasn't moved without permission, hasn't done anything but ask questions. In America, asking questions while black is uncooperative. Lena reaches into Ronan's pocket and retrieves his wallet. She opens it. Driver's license, credit cards, a family photo. Ronan, Elena, their daughter in a graduation gown. She looks at the license, looks at Ronan, looks at the license again. The registration matches, she says quietly. It's his car. Dax doesn't blink. Could be stolen identity. Happens all the time. Dax, book him. Let the detective sort it out. Lena closes the wallet. She wants to argue. She wants to say this is wrong, but Dax is already walking back to his cruiser. The decision is made. She meets Ronan's eyes through the mesh. "I'm sorry," she mouths. He nods. He doesn't blame her. Not entirely. The system is designed this way. It rewards silence. It punishes courage. It promotes people like Dax and sidelines people like Lena. Until now. Dax slides into the driver's seat and starts the engine. His body cam is mounted on his chest. The red light blinks. Recording. Then it stops. Dax has turned it off. Ronan notices. Violation 15. The cruiser pulls out of the parking lot. The crowd disperses. The teenager pockets her phone, already editing the footage for maximum drama. The businessman finishes his shopping. The grandmother loads her groceries. Life continues. But inside the police station, something is about to break. Because the desk sergeant is about to type a name into the system. And when he does, his screen will freeze. And when he makes a phone call, chains will start to move. Detective Nico Alvarez is sitting in his office right now reviewing files. Months of investigation. 8 complaints against Dax Landry. 8 victims. 8 cases closed without action. He doesn't know it yet, but his phone is about to buzz. And when he sees the name Ronan Hale, everything will change. The machinery of justice is slow, but today it's about to accelerate. Dax Landry checks his mirror and smiles. Good arrest. Clean work. Another number for his record. He has no idea that his career is now measured in minutes. The Westbrook police station sits on the corner of Madison and 5th. Red brick. American flag. A building that looks like justice but often delivers something else. Dax pulls the cruiser into the back lot and escorts Ronan through the rear entrance. The fluorescent lights hum. The hallways smell like floor wax and burned coffee. At the front desk, Sergeant Lyle Hargrove looks up from his computer. Decades on the job, seeing everything, surprised by nothing. "What do we have?" "Stolen vehicle," Dax says. "Guy claims it's his. Name, Ronan Hale." Hargrove types it in. The system processes, then freezes. He frowns. Types again. Same result. "That's weird," he mutters. "What?" "System's acting up." Hargrove picks up the phone and dials an internal line. "Captain, you might want to come down here. We have a situation." Dax doesn't notice. He's busy filling out paperwork. Another routine arrest? Another stat for the board? He's already thinking about dinner. Maybe a beer. Maybe 2. 3 floors up, Captain Desmond Kane answers the phone. His face changes as he listens. He hangs up without a word and stares at his desk. He's protected Dax for years. Buried 8 complaints, blocked 2 internal investigations. Dax is his investment, his legacy, the face of the department's future, but the name Ronan Hale changes everything. Kane knows that name. Everyone in Ohio law enforcement knows that name. He picks up the phone again. This time he dials Nico Alvarez. Alvarez answers on the second ring. "Internal Affairs. Alvarez speaking." "My office now." The line goes dead. Alvarez frowns. Kane never calls him directly. They exist in different worlds. Kane protects officers. Alvarez investigates them. Their paths cross only in conflict. He grabs his jacket and heads upstairs. Meanwhile, in the parking lot of Westbrook Plaza, Elena Hale steps through the sliding doors. Her shopping cart is abandoned. Her phone is recording. Her eyes scan the lot. The Lexus is there, but Ronan isn't. A police cruiser is pulling away. She sees her husband through the rear window, handcuffed, head down. Her stomach drops, but her training kicks in. Document first, react second. She raises her phone and captures the cruiser's plate number. Then she opens her contacts. 3 names, 3 messages. First, her lawyer, Emergency. Ronan arrested at Westbrook Plaza. Need you now. Second, her podcast producer. Story breaking. Need broadcast platform. Stand by. Third, a contact at the Washington Post. You're going to want to see this. Call me. Each message sends with a soft whoosh. 3 detonators, 3 fuses lit. Elena walks to the Lexus, calm, steady, the pace of someone who's handled worse. She reaches the car and sees Ronan's phone on the ground, cracked screen, still glowing. Ohio Supreme Court draft opinion. She picks it up. Her jaw tightens. The ruling is due soon. The ruling that would reshape police accountability. The ruling that made Ronan a target to some and a hero to others. She photographs the phone where it fell. Evidence. Then she calls Detective Nico Alvarez. He answers immediately. Elena. They arrested Ronan. Westbrook Plaza. Dax Landry made the stop. Silence on the line. Then, Landry? You've been investigating him for months. 8 complaints. How do you know that? I was FBI for years, Nico. I know everything. Another pause. Where are you now? Heading to the station. I'm going to livestream. Elena, wait. More than 1 million followers. Elena, by the time I'm done, the whole country will know what Dax Landry did to a Supreme Court justice. Just give me some time. Let me get to the station first. Let me control this from the inside. Elena considers. She trusts Alvarez. He's one of the good ones. Rare, but real. Sometime, she says. Then I go live. She hangs up. Inside the station, Alvarez stands in Captain Kane's office. The door's closed. The blinds are drawn. Kane looks like he's aged years and minutes. It's Ronan Hale, Kane says, the Supreme Court Justice. Alvarez already knows, but hearing it from Kane makes it real. Where is he now? Holding. Landry's processing him. Processing him for what? The plates are clean. The car is his. Kane rubs his temples. Landry says it's suspicious. Blackmail, expensive car, sitting alone. That's not a crime, Captain. I know that. Kane slams his hand on the desk. I know that, but Landry doesn't. And now we have a Supreme Court justice in our holding cell, and his wife is ex-FBI, and the whole thing is probably being filmed by 15 different phones. Alvarez straightens. So what do you want me to do? Kane looks at him. For a moment, something like honesty flickers across his face. Fear, desperation, the realization that his empire is built on sand. Fix it, he says. Make this go away. Alvarez nods slowly. I'll handle it. He walks out of the office and heads downstairs, but he has no intention of making this go away. For months, he's been building a case against Dax Landry. 8 complaints, 8 victims, 8 families who were told their pain didn't matter. Now he has victim number 9. And victim number 9 writes the laws. Alvarez pulls out his phone and sends one text. Preserve all footage. Body cam, dash cam, security cameras, everything. Authorization code 7 alpha. The evidence preservation protocol is now active. Whatever Dax did today, it's recorded somewhere, and Nico Alvarez is going to find it. Elena Hale doesn't run. She walks, each step measured, each breath controlled. She's talked down armed gunmen in Kabul. She's negotiated hostage releases in Bogota. This is just a parking lot. This is just a police station. This is just her husband in handcuffs. She reaches her car and sits behind the wheel. Her phone is mounted on the dashboard. The camera faces her. The live stream is ready. Not yet. She promised Alvarez some time. She keeps her promises, but she's not waiting idle. She opens Twitter. More than 1 million followers. She types, "Something is happening. Stand by. Westbrook Justice. She doesn't explain, doesn't accuse, just plants the seed. The replies start immediately. What's going on? You okay? Tell us more. She ignores them. Let the anticipation build. At the station, Nico Alvarez moves quickly. He intercepts Dax in the hallway. I'll take it from here. Dax frowns. Take what? The Hale booking. Captain's orders. Since when does Internal Affairs handle bookings? Since now. Alvarez's voice is flat. Final. Go write your report. I've got this. Dax hesitates. Something feels off, but Alvarez outranks him in situations like this. Technically, bureaucratically. Fine. Dax shrugs. He's in interview room 3. Enjoy. He walks away, already pulling out his phone. Time to update Instagram. Another day, another caller. He adds a flexing emoji, posts it. Likes pour in. He smiles. By tomorrow, that post will have thousands of comments. None will be supportive. Alvarez watches him go, then enters interview room 3. Ronan sits at the metal table, still cuffed, still calm. Justice Hale, Alvarez says quietly. I'm Detective Nico Alvarez, Internal Affairs. Ronan studies him. You've been investigating Landry for months. 8 complaints. 8 that I know of, probably more. Ronan nods. There's about to be a 9th. Alvarez sits across from him. I know, and I need you to trust me for the next few minutes. Why should I? Alvarez pulls out his phone, shows Ronan the screen, the evidence preservation order, the authorization code, the timestamp, because I've been waiting years for someone Landry couldn't silence, someone the system couldn't ignore. Alvarez leans forward. You're that someone, Justice Hale, and if you give me a few minutes, I'll give you everything you need to bury him. Ronan considers. He spent years on the bench. He knows how to read people, how to separate truth from performance. Alvarez is telling the truth. A few minutes, Ronan says. Then my wife goes live. That's all I need. Alvarez stands and walks to the door. He pauses. For what it's worth, I'm sorry this happened to you. It shouldn't have happened to anyone. I know. Alvarez's voice is heavy. That's why I do this job. He leaves. Ronan sits alone in the interview room. The fluorescent light buzzes overhead. The camera in the corner blinks silently. Dax doesn't know about that camera. He will. The door opens. Dax Landry steps into interview room 3. Alone. No partner, no supervisor, just him and the black man who ruined his afternoon. He drops a folder on the table and sits down. The chair scrapes against the floor. All right, let's make this easy. He opens the folder, empty, a prop. Where'd you get the car? Ronan's voice is level. I'd like to know the charges against me. Charges? Dax laughs. How about grand theft auto? How about possession of stolen property? How about resisting arrest? I didn't resist anything. You were uncooperative. Same thing. Ronan takes a breath. I'd like to speak with a lawyer. Lawyer? Dax leans back. You watch too much TV. This is just a conversation. 2 guys talking. Then I'm free to leave. Sit down. Am I being detained? Dax's smile fades. What do you think? I think you're required to inform me of my status. That's not opinion. That's Richardson versus Ohio. Silence. Dax blinks. You a lawyer or something? Ronan doesn't answer. He lets the question hang. Outside the room, Nico Alvarez stands behind the one-way glass. His phone is raised. Recording. The audio is clear. The video is steady. This isn't official procedure. This is insurance. because Alvarez knows how these things get buried, how footage disappears, how reports get rewritten, how victims become suspects, and suspects become victims. Not this time. Dax shifts in his chair. The black man's calm is unnerving. Most people break in this room. They sweat, they stammer. They confess to things they didn't do just to make it stop. This one is different. Let me explain something, Dax says, leaning forward. I've been doing this for years. I've got commendations, awards. I'm Officer of the Year twice. You know what that means? It means you've learned how to perform. Dax's face reddens. Excuse me? Commendations measure compliance, not competence. Awards measure politics, not justice. Being Officer of the Year means the system approves of you. It doesn't mean you're good at your job. The room goes cold. Dax stands. His chair tips backward. Who the hell do you think you are? Ronan remains seated. Someone who knows the law better than you do. You don't know anything. I know you ran my plates twice. I know they came back clean both times. I know you arrested me without probable cause, without allowing me to present identification, and without informing me of the charges. I know you used excessive force during a compliant stop. I know you turned off your body cam twice during this detention. Dax freezes. That's 15 violations so far. Ronan's voice doesn't waver. We're up to 16 now since you entered this room alone without a supervising officer. Shall I continue? Dax says nothing. I've been counting since the moment you opened my door. Every word, every action, every violation. You're bluffing. Richardson versus Ohio, Barnes versus Columbus, Thornton versus State. Ronan pauses. Do you know what those cases have in common? Dax's mouth opens. Nothing comes out. I wrote them. The words land like a physical blow. Dax steps backward. You what? I wrote the opinions. Barnes was 2018. Thornton was 2021. Richardson was 2019. Ronan stands slowly. My name is Ronan Hale, Associate Justice, Ohio Supreme Court. The color drains from Dax's face, and soon I'll be publishing a ruling on police accountability, a ruling that addresses exactly this kind of misconduct. Ronan straightens his cuffs. I was going to write it based on case files and statistics. Now I have first-hand experience. Dax stumbles toward the door. You might want to call your union representative, Ronan says calmly. You're going to need one. Dax bursts out of the room. The door slams behind him. Through the one-way glass, Nico Alvarez lowers his phone. He has everything, every word, every confession, every moment of Dax Landry realizing his career is over. He saves the video, backs it up, sends a copy to his personal email, then he enters the interview room. That was impressive, he says. Ronan rubs his wrists. The cuffs are off now. That was necessary. Your wife is outside. She's been waiting. How long? Some time. Ronan nods. Then we have minutes before she goes live. What do you want to do? Ronan looks at the camera in the corner, the one Dax never noticed. I want that footage, and I want his personnel file, and I want to stand in front of those news cameras and tell the truth. Alvarez smiles. I can arrange that. The door to interview room 3 opens. Captain Desmond Kane stands in the doorway. His face is pale. His hands are shaking. Mr. Hale? He can barely meet Ronan's eyes. There's been a misunderstanding. You're free to go. Ronan stands. I'll need documentation of this detention. Of course, we'll have someone prepare. Detective Alvarez can assist. Ronan's voice is calm, pointed. I saw him through the glass. Kane stiffens. He didn't know Alvarez was watching. He didn't know anyone was watching. The walls are closing in. Detective Alvarez is... Kane struggles for words. He's internal affairs. This is a patrol matter. Captain. Ronan's tone is final. Detective Alvarez or I call my lawyer. Your choice. Kane nods weakly. Alvarez. Yes, of course. Ronan walks out of the room. His steps are steady. His shoulders are straight. He passes Dax in the hallway. Dax presses himself against the wall. He can't look up. Can't speak. Can't breathe. Ronan doesn't acknowledge him. Doesn't need to. The power has shifted. At the front desk, Elena waits. Her phone is in her hand, still recording. Her eyes lock onto Ronan the moment he appears. She doesn't run to him, doesn't cry, doesn't make a scene. She simply nods. He nods back. Years of marriage. They don't need words. Ronan reaches her and stops for a moment. Just a moment. He closes his eyes. His shoulders drop. The tension releases. He rubs his wrists where the cuffs bit into his skin. The marks are red, angry. They'll bruise by morning. Elena photographs them. Evidence, she says quietly. He opens his eyes. Always. She glances at her phone. Minutes then, I go live. Wait. Ronan takes her hand. Let's do this right together, outside. The press is already there. I know. He squeezes her hand. That's the point. They walk toward the exit, side by side. The desk sergeant watches them pass. The officers in the hallway step aside. No one speaks. The glass doors open. Afternoon light floods in. The sound of cameras, the murmur of reporters. Ronan takes a breath. This is it. The moment everything changes. They step outside. The parking lot is transformed. News vans, satellite dishes, reporters with microphones, cameras pointed like weapons. Elena's texts worked. Ronan walks to the center of the crowd. Elena stays one step behind, her phone raised, live stream active. The viewer count climbs, thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands. A reporter shouts, "Sir, can you tell us what happened?" Ronan raises his hand. The crowd quiets. My name is Ronan Hale. His voice carries across the lot, steady, clear, unbroken. I am an associate justice of the Ohio Supreme Court. Minutes ago, I was arrested in this parking lot for stealing my own car. Gasps ripple through the crowd. Phones rise higher. Cameras zoom closer. I was waiting for my wife. She was inside the grocery store. I was sitting in my vehicle reading a legal document. I was doing nothing wrong. He pauses, lets the words settle. Officer Dax Landry approached my car. He did not ask for identification. He did not explain why he stopped me. He told me, and I quote, "A black man in a $60,000 car. You stole it." The crowd murmurs. Some reporters exchange glances. He pulled me from my vehicle. He slammed me onto the hood. He handcuffed me without probable cause. He called me, "You're kind." He said my papers were fake. He said I was a thief. Ronan holds up his wrists. The red marks are visible even from a distance. He did all of this while a crowd watched, while teenagers filmed and laughed, while adults nodded their approval. Not one person asked if I was okay. Not one person questioned the officer. He lowers his arms. I don't share this story for sympathy. I share it because I am lucky. I am a Supreme Court justice. I have resources. I have connections. I have a wife who is a retired FBI special agent. He gestures to Elena. I have people who will believe me. Elena steps forward. The live stream counter has crossed 1 million. My name is Elena Hale. I spent years as an FBI special agent. When I exited that store and saw my husband in handcuffs, I did what I was trained to do. I documented. She holds up her phone. This live stream has been running. Millions of people are watching right now. The footage shows everything: the arrest, the crowd, the silence. She lowers the phone. But I have more than just my footage. The crowd leans in. This is retired FBI Special Agent Elena Hale requesting the immediate release of all body cam footage from Officer Dax Landry's arrest of my husband. A voice from behind them. That footage doesn't exist. Everyone turns. Nico Alvarez walks through the station doors. He carries a folder, a thick folder. Officer Landry's body cam was deactivated twice during the detention. Alvarez's voice is calm, professional, damning. I have the timestamp logs. Each deactivation is a violation of department policy. Each is grounds for termination. Dax's Instagram post flashes through Ronan's mind. Another day, another caller. Not anymore. Alvarez opens the folder. I've been investigating Officer Landry for months. In that time, I've documented 8 prior complaints against him. 8 citizens who reported excessive force, racial profiling, and civil rights violations. He pulls out a stack of papers. Every single complaint was closed without action. Every single one was buried by department leadership. He glances at the station doors. Captain Kane is watching from inside. His face is ashen. The pattern is clear. Officer Landry targets black drivers in affluent areas. His complaint rate is 3 times the department average. His use of force incidents are 4 times higher than any other officer in his precinct. Alvarez places the folder on the hood of the nearest car. This ends today. A reporter pushes forward. Detective Alvarez, are you saying there's a cover-up? I'm saying there's a pattern. A pattern that was ignored. A pattern that was protected. Alvarez meets the camera directly. 8 people came forward. 8 people were told their experiences didn't matter. Today, a 9th person came forward, but this time, the system couldn't ignore him. He turns to Ronan. Justice Hale, I'm sorry this happened to you, but I'm grateful it happened on camera because now the whole world can see what we've been fighting for months. Ronan nods. Detective Alvarez, thank you for your work. Thank you for believing the first 8 victims even when no one else did. The live stream counter crosses millions. A reporter shouts, Justice Hale, isn't it true you're currently writing an opinion on police accountability? Ronan takes a breath. Yes, I am writing a ruling that will reshape police accountability in Ohio. It's due soon. He pauses. I was going to write it based on case law and statistics. Now I'll write it based on experience. Another reporter. What does the ruling say? I can't discuss pending decisions, but I can tell you this. Qualified immunity cannot shield willful misconduct. When officers weaponize authority against citizens, the law must respond. He looks directly into the cameras. I was treated this way because I'm black, because I drove a nice car, because I was in a neighborhood where someone decided I didn't belong. That's not law enforcement. That's profiling. That's prejudice. That's injustice. He gestures to the crowd. But here's what Officer Landry didn't know. Here's what none of them knew. Ronan reaches into his pocket and pulls out his wallet. He opens it, holds up his ID. I'm not just a black man in a Lexus. I'm an Associate Justice of the Ohio Supreme Court. I've sat on the bench for years. I've written hundreds of opinions. I've dedicated my life to the law. He puts the wallet away. But it shouldn't matter who I am. It shouldn't matter what I do. The law should protect everyone equally. If it only protects judges and senators and celebrities, it protects no one. Elena steps beside him. Their hands find each other. My husband could have told Officer Landry who he was. He could have ended this in seconds. She looks at Ronan. Why didn't you? Ronan is quiet for a moment. Because the man behind me in traffic might not be a judge. The woman Landry stops next week might not have connections. The teenager he profiles next month might not have a lawyer. He shakes his head. I stayed silent because my silence reveals the truth. The truth about how black people are treated in this country. The truth about what happens when no one is watching. He looks at the cameras again. Well, now you're watching. Millions of you. And what you do with this moment matters more than what happened in that parking lot. Inside the station, Dax Landry watches through the window. His phone has been buzzing nonstop. His Instagram post now has thousands of comments. None are supportive. The door opens behind him. Captain Kane enters. Dax. His voice is hollow. Badge and gun, now. Captain, I didn't know. That's the problem. Kane holds out his hand. You never do. Dax's fingers tremble as he reaches for his badge. Years of service, years of commendations and awards, and being told he was the best. Gone in one afternoon. The badge leaves his chest. The weight disappears. He feels lighter and emptier. He places it in Kane's hand. Then the gun. Administrative leave, Kane says. Pending investigation. Don't leave town. Dax nods. He can't speak. Can't think. The badge hits the desk with a heavy clink. The sound echoes. Outside, the press conference continues. But inside, in this small hallway, a career ends. Dax Landry, 2-time Officer of the Year, stands alone. The hallway is silent. No one comes to comfort him. No one says it will be okay because it won't. Later, the Ohio Supreme Court building rises against a gray morning sky. Columns of marble, steps worn smooth by a century of footsteps. A place where words become law. Justice Ronan Hale walks through the front entrance. His robes flow behind him. His footsteps echo in the rotunda. He enters his chambers. The ruling waits on his desk. Hundreds of pages, years of case law, months of drafting, and now one new footnote. Recent events have underscored the urgency of this ruling. The author has personally experienced the conduct this opinion addresses. 14 words. They will be cited in hundreds of future cases. Ronan signs the final page. The ruling is complete. It is published and quickly becomes national news. Qualified immunity cannot shield willful misconduct. When officers weaponize authority against citizens, the law must respond. The words ripple across the country. In Westbrook, the ripples become waves. Dax Landry is formally charged. False arrest, civil rights violation, evidence tampering for the body cam deactivations. Federal prosecutors add their own charges. He faces years in prison. His lawyer advises a plea deal. Dax refuses. He wants his day in court. He'll get it, but not the way he imagined. Captain Desmond Kane resigns. His letter cites personal reasons. The truth is simpler. The 8 complaint files he buried are now under federal review. His pension is frozen pending investigation. He cleans out his office on a quiet morning. No ceremony, no farewell, just cardboard boxes and silence. Detective Nico Alvarez is promoted to lieutenant. His months-long investigation becomes a model for internal affairs departments nationwide. Police academies request his training materials. Law schools invite him to lecture. He declines most of them. He has work to do. Officer Elena Vargas, the backup who hesitated in the parking lot, requests a transfer. She moves to community policing. She starts a mentorship program for minority officers. I should have said something, she tells a reporter. I knew it was wrong. I stayed quiet anyway. She pauses. I won't make that mistake again. Her program graduates dozens of officers in its first year. The teenager who filmed the arrest deletes her social media accounts. The comments were too much. The guilt was worse. She enrolls in a criminal justice program. The man in the business suit who drove away gives an anonymous donation to the NAACP. It doesn't erase his shame. Nothing will. The grandmother who hurried past writes a letter to the editor. I saw injustice and I walked away. I was afraid. I was wrong. If I ever see something like that again, I will not be silent. The letter goes viral, and the Hale family sits on their porch on a quiet evening. The sun sets orange and gold. The neighborhood is quiet. Elena holds a glass of wine. Ronan holds her hand. You could have told him, she says, right there in the parking lot. I'm a Supreme Court justice. One sentence. All of this would have stopped. Ronan is quiet for a long moment. That's exactly why I didn't. She looks at him. If I have to announce my title to be treated with dignity, then the system is already broken. The law should protect everyone equally. Not just judges, not just senators, not just people with connections. He squeezes her hand. I stayed silent because my silence was the evidence. The evidence that a black man doing nothing wrong can still be treated like a criminal. The evidence that crowds will watch and laugh. The evidence that officers will lie and leaders will cover it up. Elena nods slowly. And if you weren't a judge, if I weren't FBI, if we were just people, Ronan's jaw tightens. Then no one would have listened. That's the truth. That's the injustice. That's what the ruling is about. He looks out at the street. I write opinions because words can change systems. Nico investigates because evidence can expose corruption. You pressed record because documentation defeats denial. He turns to her. But none of it matters if people stay silent. If they watch and do nothing. If they choose comfort over courage. Elena leans her head on his shoulder. So what do? We keep watching. We keep recording. We keep fighting. He takes a breath. Until the system changes. Someone has to be watching. They sit in silence as the sun disappears. A car passes on the street. A young black man behind the wheel. A nice car. A nervous expression. A police cruiser follows 3 cars behind. The young man checks his mirror. His hands tighten on the wheel. Then the cruiser turns left, drives away. The young man exhales. His shoulders drop. He continues home. Inside his car, a dash cam blinks silently. Recording, just in case. Because that's the world they live in. A world where black men buy dash cams like insurance policies. A world where driving while black is a calculated risk. A world where justice depends on who's watching. But maybe slowly things are changing. Maybe Dax Landry's arrest matters. Maybe Ronan's ruling matters. Maybe one viral video, one honest detective, one brave wife with a phone can shift the balance. Maybe the next time a cop sees a black man in a nice car, he'll think twice. Not because it's right, but because it's recorded. Because the world is watching. Because the cost of injustice has finally become too high. Justice Ronan Hale looks at the empty street. Until the system changes, he says quietly, someone has to be watching. He turns to Elena.